Family YouTube video, wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. Thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate if you jump on here live here on this Wednesday evening. Comment in the comment section. A like, a thumbs up. Subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. It's the final Wednesday in the month of April, which means it's time for the last top 10 countdown in the month of April. And this is one that I hope to get some comments from, but that'll make it more interesting. But if not, you can catch up and watch it later and leave comments. Good evening, Keveron. Glad to have you here as always. And as always, it's a good day to be a Tiger fan. Every day is a good day to be a Tiger fan. Hey there, Jacob. Glad to have you here on this Wednesday evening. This is a top 10 countdown that I've done before. Been a couple of years ago, but the channel has grown tremendously since then. But also, my taste has changed since then. Your taste changes ever so often. And also, sometimes you hear a word and it doesn't bother you, but then you hear it and again and again and again, and it's like, okay, that's getting annoying. So I figured I'd do it again. It's the top 10 current words or phrases that just irked me, and the majority of them you only hear in the sports world, but there's a couple of them that you hear just in general talking to people. And I know for sure that what's number one this time wasn't number one last time, so I know it's changed. I don't recall if all 10 of these were on here last time or if I've got some new ones. But, I listen to sports talk all the time. I do take breaks occasionally and, listen to music, but most of the time I listen to sports talk all day, every day. You do that, you hear so many interviews from, different coaches, different players, different, magazine writers and sports, then also the host, and sometimes you hear all of them say the same phrases, and after a while you think, can't we say something different? Can't we explain something by saying it a different way, by saying something different and not being so cliche all the time? So if you're a sports fan, you've probably heard all of these sayings, but there are some on here that you do hear in everyday life, but the majority of them you just hear in the sports world. Number 10, the game was too fast. And I hate that because, first of all, there are different ways to describe somebody besides just saying the game's too fast. And I'm glad you love football, Fallon, and I'm glad you're here on this Wednesday evening, because some of the phrases on countdown tonight you hear in the game of football. There's one that specifically you only hear in football, and it drives me crazy, and I'll get there in just a minute. But Fallon, if it's your first time being here, thank you very much for stopping by the channel. Feel free to give the video a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. But second of all, not only are there other ways to explain a game that somebody's too slow in besides just saying the game was too fast, it's also not true with everybody. The game may not be too fast. Maybe you just are too slow or aren't athletic enough. That doesn't mean the game's too fast. It just means you're too slow. Number 9, this drives me crazy. You hear it all the time in football. He's a dude. Okay, well, everybody playing football or baseball or basketball is a dude. So let's say something besides he's a dude. I feel like people just get too lazy and just don't do research. So they just say something that everybody else says. They say, oh, I can say that because everybody else says it. They'll know what I mean. Do your own research. Come up with your own phrases, your own sayings, your own words. But every time we show a highlight package of somebody having a good game, we say, he's a dude. Well, I know that. If you show me a female golfer, I'm going to say, She's a girl. Yeah, but that doesn't explain what they're doing. He's a dude. Well, tell me something about that dude besides he's a dude. I can see that he's a dude. Number 8, and this is the one that I just told Fallon, and specifically about football and mainly just college football. Frisbee catching dogs. That is the most overused phrase in football. If you want to explain to me how good you think a wide receiver is, you can explain it besides just saying Frisbee catching dogs. Frisbee catching dogs. Say he's got great hands. Say something besides Frisbee catching dogs. Number 7 is boat raced. And you hear that all the time if somebody is explaining a game and it was a blowout, they'll say, oh man, they got boat raced. So I know what it means, but there's got to be another way of saying it was a blowout besides just saying boat raced. Tell me something else. I get tired of hearing that. Number 6 is the one that really has only taken off in about the last, I'd say, 3 years, and more specifically the last year and a half, and that's not on my bingo card. Every time something shocking happens now, that's what they say. That was not on my bingo card. Was that on your bingo card? That's not on my bingo card. And it's just becoming an overused cliche. Um, Again, 10 through 6. The game was too fast. Frisbee catching dogs. Boat raced. And not on my bingo card. Hey there, Thomas. Glad to have you here. And I have no clue who that is. No clue at all. So I can't comment on that. Hey there, Dwayne. Glad to have you here. Number 5. If I would have told you, if you would have told me, and you hear that in every sport, every time something that we don't expect happens, and it's a few weeks later, that's what we'll say. Man, if you'd have told me, man, if I'd have told you, just another one of those overused cliches. When you hear this stuff 8, 9, 10 times a day, after a while, you just get tired of hearing it. You feel like, man, if you work in sports, there's something you can say besides the same thing that everybody else says. Uh, I'm not really sure what you would call me, Dwayne. I'm glad you asked, but all my life, I've always wondered what I am. I wouldn't say that I'm a cowboy because I don't wear cowboy hats. I don't wear cowboy boots, and I can't stand pants so tight they squeeze your balls. So I wouldn't say that I'm a cowboy, but I never was preppy. I don't drink, so I can't be a redneck. So I don't really know what you'd call me. I'm just me, I guess. And the cowboy accent is just because I've been in the South all my life. So you get that Southern accent and that Southern twang. Number 4 is one you hear not just in sports, but in life in general. When somebody doesn't like what somebody's doing or they're trying to get over somebody, they'll say, "Oh, you do you." That is so stupid. That is the dumbest saying you could say to explain somebody. Well, you do you. Makes no sense at all. Number 3 is one you hear all the time when somebody's trying to explain something. They'll say, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, well, at the end of the day, it's nighttime. But explain this to me besides saying at the end of the day, because I know at the end of the day, it's time to go to bed. It's something you can't really learn, Dwayne. I don't use the majority of the Southern words and the Southern slang because most of it is dumb and stupid. And it makes me sound dumb and stupid saying it when I know that the words aren't real words and the slang words. But the accent is something that you don't learn it, you just get it. You live somewhere a lot. They say if you live in the South and you pack up and move to California and you stay there within 10 years, you have the West Coast slang. But I've never been to California, so I don't know. But they say when you're there, long enough, it rubs off on you. And they say living in the South long enough, it rubs off on you. You just get the slang. Number two is the one that was number one last time, and it's still annoying, but it's no longer number one. Is people say it is what it is. First of all, how do I know that it is what it is when I don't know what it is? And second of all, what does that mean? It is what it is. Well, tell me what it is. No, Thomas, I can't. This is actually just my accent. Hey there, Chesley. Have not seen your name in the comment section in a while. Glad to have you back. Thank you for stopping by on this day, evening, or as some folks call it, hump day evening. It's even worse in person, Dwayne. I have a different voice when I'm on, here than when I do when I'm in person. So if you would ever see me in person, I would sound completely different. Some folks say even worse. I try to talk, clear and plain on here so that folks understand what I'm saying. But one-on-one in person, it's even worse. I love you too, Chesley. Glad to have you here. I always enjoy seeing your comments in the comment section. Number one is one that's taken off in the last year, and I completely, totally despise it. And it's gotten really rampant in the last, I'd say, 6 months. And that's when somebody says, I'm going to give you the best version of myself. Well, I'm going to give you the best version of myself. First of all, say something else. And second of all, you can't give me the best version of somebody else. All you can do is give me yourself. So I don't expect, let me give you an example. I don't expect James Harden to come out and say, well, I'm going to give you the best version of Stephen Curry, because James Harden can't be Stephen Curry. He's James Harden. So just say, I'm going to do better. Just say, I'm going to try harder. Just say, I'm going to improve. Don't say, it's the best version of myself. I know if you play sports, you're always trying your best. You're always trying your hardest. So you're always trying to give people the best of who you are. You ain't got to say that. That's so dumb, makes no sense. Saying it's the best version of myself. Until somebody comes out and says, man, I'm just going to give you absolutely the worst version of myself I can be, I want to totally suck. I want to totally be awful. Unless somebody says that, I don't need an athlete to tell me, well, I'm going to give you the best version of myself. That's what I expect. That's what you're supposed to do. You shouldn't have to tell people that you're going to do what you're supposed to do. That's dumb. And Dwayne, thanks for saying I'm cool, man. I appreciate that. I always enjoy seeing people's comments, and I always tell people if they're new to the channel, if by some chance, I know not everybody is, but Facebook is the only social media that I have. I don't have TikTok. I don't have Chat Snap, whatever it's called. I don't have Twitter. I don't do any of those. But if by some chance you're on Facebook, you can message me on Facebook, and I'm the same person on Facebook as I am on here. Just type my name up, and I am easy to find. And as long as you talk normal, I talk to anybody. That I say that because some people will come on, different platforms and just say stupid, idiotic things just to get a rise out of you. If you do that, I'm not going to respond. If you call people names, I'm not going to respond. But if you can have a civilized conversation, I talk to anybody on Facebook the same way I do on here. Appreciate all the comments tonight. Appreciate everybody checking in tonight. And appreciate the Bible verse, Chesley. And thank you for subscribing, Dwayne. I appreciate that. Come back next time. I'm on here just about every single day, and I'm live just about every single day. Usually, I'm not sure where you're located, Dwayne, but most of the time, I'm on here between o'clock p.m. Eastern Time and 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. So depending on where you are, will tell you what time it'll be in your area. Sometimes it's earlier, and every once in a while it's later. Like this past Saturday, I didn't come on here till like 11:45 Eastern time. So I do them late every now and then, and I do them early every now and then. But usually it's between 7 o'clock Eastern time and 11 o'clock Eastern time every single night. But let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. Good night, Chesley. Again, come back some other time. I'm looking forward to watching the World Origami Championship. It's on pay-per-view. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of three. Tell your friends and family how much you love them.